Folks, it is Thursday. Welcome into another edition of the Major League Baseball show right here on sportsbookreview.com. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. And last night, I was up late, Jason. And as they say, you only hold on to that last out. Hold on to it as tight as you can. In both games I had last night with the Cubs, and more importantly, my play of the day, the St. Louis Cardinals. One swing of the bat, we do it. Bottom of the ninth inning. Oh, it feels good sometimes. It really does, Jason.
Yeah, and I had the Cubs-Tigers game, had the over, missed it off of one inning, I had in the first 5 innings, and it just had 3 runs. But in the 6th inning, you saw 9 runs, and then that game went over. So rethinking, my strategies, whatnot, had the analysis correct, but again, we fall short somehow, some way.
And everybody here in the chat box already, 85 people tuning in as we just click it live on the show. 10 likes already, no dislikes. That's where we like it at. And when you tune into the show, if you're catching it later, oh my goodness, did I miss anything? Hit the link below, sprpicks.com/MLB. And also hit the subscribe button. 66,800 people have done so. I'm hoping that by the time we get on tomorrow, Jason, we hit that 67,000 subscriber limit. That would be nice. Welcome into the chat box. Ray, Eric, Long Shot Louie says, can you get a shout out? Yes. Shout out. There you go. Tori, Long Shot, Ricky, Brock, Freddie. So many. Look at this. Already people in here. James, what the Hallman in here. Darrell Dukes, Marvin Barnett, Randy Sorry, Lamont Williams, Gabriel Katz. Let's get it underway. Now, I got to say, Jason, yesterday we're setting it up, and I know we both really liked the San Diego game at night. Team total over. We thought that was going to be a good play. Some games around Major League Baseball get canceled, and you just say, all right, you flip it over. You have a doubleheader that's a month down the line when you catch up. But these games, since we don't have much time left in the season, flip over to doubleheaders the very next day. And to me, I haven't bet a doubleheader yet, and I know you're trying to pick your spots and take your shots. But in these doubleheaders, I'm just not comfortable with what I see. And also, how about today? Let's start right off. 3:10 p.m., which is a 12:10 start out west in San Diego. Kikuchi and Dinelson Lamet, you're supposed to also in the second game have a different starter in that game. He gets traded overnight or in the morning, which is Taijuan Walker over to the Blue Jays. A lot of interesting stuff going on. But now I see it minus 240, a total of 6. I still haven't approached a doubleheader yet. Do you have any looks in these early games? You said, whoa, pitching changes, doubleheaders. I'm out on these early ones.
Yeah, look, the Yankees coming in yesterday, played 2 games, got swept in both. Offense was really shaky and just quiet throughout the entire 2 games. So, yeah, it's really, really hard to get a good read on doubleheaders, especially on teams that, maybe don't play the day before or even days, prior to that as well, like the Yankees did. So, really, really tough. At the end of the day, some of those over-unders are really low. Like when you see 6 runs in a Padres game in the over-under, it's like, all right, we're taking team totals on overs at around 4.55, and we're hoping that they can hit it in, and we're having them go up against their starters, right? We're not looking at that bullpen. We're saying, all right, this team can probably score 4.5 runs against this starter, and then potentially the relief pitching if they have to. So that's the difference. Like 6 runs in a 7-inning game for the Padres seems extremely low. But again, we're working at these offenses and they're struggling in doubleheaders.
Yeah, and also you get that early game action out west. It's an interesting thing that gets brought up because we look and you see how this card is so big. Like, oh my goodness, look at all these shots. And then I realize what I like and what I don't like, because as gamblers, we're trained eyes here. I love to take team total overs. I'm not a great underdog guy. I'm not a great, run line type guy over the full 9 innings, when some people I know that's their specialty. And when I look, my eyes, you're right. My eyes don't line up when I see 6s and 6.5 as totals. And then you realize, well, Dinelson Lamet, if you're looking for an over 6.5, yeah, San Diego's probably going to do the heavy damage in this game. But Dinelson Lamet might throw a complete game, or you go 6 innings and you hand it over to your closer and it's a wrap. So my eyes still don't break down exactly what I need to see. But the one thing I don't want to do is say, hey, you know what? After a game that was canceled yesterday, let me just roll out a 240. Even though Kikuchi, he does have decent peripheral numbers, but the guy just gives up runs left and right. 4 innings. He might give up the 6.5, Jason, all by himself today. I don't have any official plays or even leans in this game. Any way that you might lean in this game or maybe taking a look at?
Yeah, look, Kikuchi's been pretty good at 2.56 FIP, does have a 6.3 ERA. But we talk about these Padres, especially at home. They've been really good at home, hitting the ball really well. But again, they were off the day before, and who knows what we'll get in terms of lineups in the first game, the second game. We just don't have enough information. It's just really hard to bet doubleheaders. So thankfully, I have some games that we'll talk about a little bit later that are doubleheaders that have some solid value in. So staying away from this series, but I mean it's hard to say the Padres won't get the sweep here.
Yeah, we've had and also, guys, when we talk about this stuff, some of the graphics that come up, they're games that we've already determined yesterday that we're going to talk about today. And a lot of these games that got canceled, they're now the back halves of doubleheaders. So the same thing's going to take place here: 971, 972, a 5:05 start. Kershaw and Webb. Look, another huge favorite on the road, minus 223s, 6s, 6.5s across the board as a total. It's too much for me in a 7-inning game, and I do like the fact that San Francisco is game at home. They're able to put up runs. Do you want to walk into that stacked lineup with the Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw go up against Webb? It's not as if you're getting a legitimate pitcher, even Gausman, who might be able to hold his own against Kershaw. I don't have any opinion on this game at all. I do think the Dodgers should be able to win this game. And I mean, again, Kershaw goes 6 innings. You hand it over to Kenley Jensen. It's going to be hard to beat the Dodgers today.
Yeah, and I agree. And it looks like, Logan Webb was just scheduled to pitch the first game, as is Kershaw. So that just it's confirmed now. So Walker Buehler will probably go the second game. And I would assume maybe Gausman's the second game as well for this. But yeah, Kershaw's been really good as of late. I think we talked about him yesterday, right? He only had 2 earned runs in his last 2 starts. Getting a solid ground ball rate, does have a little bit of a hard contact rate, but when you can't hit him, it doesn't really matter, right? So, the Giants, they've won 7 straight games. That maybe, gets you a little bit worried about taking this game. Of course, another doubleheader that we're not going to take, but the Giants are really hot right now. They've won 7 straight. Their pitching's been very good. Logan Webb, a 3.16 FIP, 3.29 ERA. His walk rate is getting high, but he's not allowing home runs. And what do the Dodgers do? Specifically hit home runs, right? So if he can limit the home runs from the Dodgers, I think the Giants have a chance to be in this game and potentially win this game. It's a hard one for me. Obviously, I'd rather side with Kershaw, but maybe the Giants have some value in this game, being home in a doubleheader.
No, yeah, you're right. And we'll see what happens here. And yesterday I was even going up against it, that, team total 1.5 that the Giants usually have. They've been very good, and even knocking that down 1.5 usually in the first inning. We'll see if that streak of, scoring 6+ runs continues there for the San Francisco Giants. Let's get to a game that actually is going to go 9 innings, or at least we think is going to go 9 innings. 9:57, 9:58, Boston and Toronto. Massa is on the mound versus Hyun-Jin Ryu. 7 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on Toronto. They open up at 172, Jason. We're now 195s across the board and a total of 10. Ryu has bounced back as the starter that Buffalo and Toronto needed him to be. I think they're the better team in this game, but I'm actually in this small park. It's hard to go unders, but sometimes you have to read what your eyes tell you. I like the under 10 in this game. I think Ryu can do the job. I think Matt's a decent pitcher here. And again, not a great lineup that you're going to see day to day for the Blue Jays. I'm going to go under 10 in this one. Maybe wait a little bit longer to see if you can hit that 10.5 if it pops up, since it's extra juice on the 10s. So I'll take the 10 since it's there now. Might wait a little bit longer to take the 10.5, but I'm just going to sit on the under in this one as a lean here, Jason. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I think you're onto something. I think the Blue Jays are definitely the play in this game. With Ryu, he's been really good as of late. So, for me, I have an official play on this game, taking the Blue Jays minus 0.5 in the first 5 innings at minus 154. Yes, it's a lot of juice there, but I truly believe in this Blue Jays team against the Red Sox. Like you said, Chris Meza, he's a guy that pitched for the Mets, I think either last season or 2 years before that. Yeah, he never really figured it out in the major league level. There were talks maybe he'd go on into maybe international and play maybe in Japan or somewhere else. But then he found his way with the Red Sox. He's only pitched 2 games this season. He's not really in that rotation, kind of a spot start for him. He got roughed up in his last start versus the Yankees, looked good in his first start versus the Yankees, but I wouldn't consider him a reliable pitcher by any means. I think he can get the job done to keep the game under 10.5 because I do think Ryu could get a shutout here. He could maybe allow 1-2 runs at most. And then if you're getting that 10.5, the Blue Jays would have to score, 9 runs to beat you at the 10.5, which, obviously I don't think the Blue Jays can do that. I do think the Blue Jays, though, could score over 5.5 runs. I just think the Blue Jays will, dominate this entire game. The first 5, the full game minus 1.5, the over 5.5. I think it's the Blue Jays game, and they're going to handle the Red Sox in this one.
Yeah, Blue Jays trying to make a run at that playoff spot, as we said, acquiring Taijuan Walker. Didn't give up anything for him, a player to be named later, which means like a 16-year-old Dominican kid that you signed for $10,000 and maybe cash considerations of a few $100,000 to try to offset some costs, but they got him for free. It's nice to see the Blue Jays actually trying to make some waves for saying, you know what, in this shortened season, Boston is down, the Yankees aren't playing well. Hey, why not try maybe make a stab at this and get into the playoffs? So good to see that. 959, 960, another full game here. Baltimore and Tampa Bay. Means and Yarborough, both lefties, going to line up in this. 6 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Tampa Rays. If we take a look across the board, it's a hefty number. Minus 180 it opens at Jason. Now sitting in that minus 185 range at Chris. What hasn't changed is the total of 8.5. And some of these games I just like to keep simple. I actually like the team total first 5 innings over 2.5 for the Tampa Bay Rays. And then it correlates with the over 4.5 as well. It's not a great bullpen for the Baltimore Orioles. What I would like to see is the Orioles chase down the Tampa Rays. So at least you know, maybe 2 runs, 3 runs. So they just feel the need that they have to keep their foot on the gas pedal. I don't see any reason why the Tampa Bay Rays can't get 4 runs and certainly pick up 3 runs over 5 innings versus Means. I like it both ways here, Jason. Which way are you looking?
Yeah, I'm with you. We're here. I got the Rays over 4.5 at around minus 115 now. In the mornings, I saw it around minus 115. Yeah, John Means, he has a 10.13 ERA, a 7.66 FIP, and you're just asking the Rays to get 4.5 runs against an Orioles bullpen that hasn't been great this season. I think they pitched maybe 5 or 6 bullpen guys in the last game, so these guys are going to have to go back in, perform again, you know, especially when Means comes out early. And I say that because Means, he's now played a bunch of games, I think 4 starts in the season, just like 10 innings. So he's had the short leash in every single game this season, also allowed runs in every single game this season as well. So for me, I like the Rays over 4.5 against John Means, who's not been good this year.
Yeah, I think they get some damage done in that game. I like that. But again, sometimes you take that drawback. Would it be nice if, Tampa had an open air, 90-degree stadium? Yeah, it would be fantastic. But beggars can't be choosers. They should do some damage against Baltimore. Let's keep going here. 961, 962. That is going to be the Minnesota Twins and the Detroit Tigers. The hot Detroit Tigers at the plate. Dobnak versus Boyd, the lefty. 6 out of every 10 tickets coming in on Minnesota in this game. Opened up at minus 164 offshore at SBRodds.com at Pinnacle. Now we're seeing a drop down, minus 146. Minus 150, and also the total, which opened up at 10, now sits at 9.5. I've been a big fan of Dobnak. Give me the first 5 innings with him to go up against that lineup for Detroit. I think he can hold his own, even though the Minnesota Twins haven't done all that well against lefties this season. I think they could scratch out some runs, so I'm going to keep it simple in this game. Minnesota first 5 innings, money line, minus 135. Give me those Twins, 2-1 at the end of 5. I'll take that cash. Which way are you looking here, Jason?
Yeah, so the Twins minus 0.5 in the first 5 seem like the play. If you want to play it a little bit safer, obviously you can go with that money line. I don't have an official play here. I already have 3 games that I like, and I don't really like to go crazy volume. But this would be my 4th game. 100%. If there's a game that rains out or there's a game that gets suspended, we're going right to this Twins game. Just like we did with the Cardinals last night. Wasn't an official play, but I definitely put in a little bit of a little cash with that Cardinals play due to your pick. But I like the Twins here at minus 150. Twins in the first 5. I think Boyd, obviously not the best pitcher. Of course, the Twins struggle versus Boyd or against lefties, but again, Boyd. I mean, look at those stats. I mean, it's just he's been brutal. 8.48 ERA, 5.84 FIP. 10.36 strikeouts per 9 innings, but he's also allowed 2.5 home runs per 9 innings. You don't expect the Twins to maybe score a home run or 2. Maybe Donaldson, maybe someone else in that lineup can get the job done. Cruz. There's some righties that can definitely do damage against the lefties. I like the Twins here by a landslide.
Yep, mark it down. Nelson Cruz brings out the boomstick, and we're going to be covering this one at the end of 5 innings. I do like that game. And also, it's just another interesting point about capping and psychology, Jason. You wake up in the morning, it's 8:30, whatever time you get up, you start looking at the card and you go, am I going to spend time with all these games today, not knowing if they're even going to play these games? So it was nice that the NBA came out at 11 o'clock. We're playing. That signified that Major League Baseball is going to play. Hopefully the NBA gets back on the court quickly. And I know, Jay Money, get that NBA show rocking and rolling again. It's nice when all the sports are going on at one time, and we almost lost the NBA, and who knows what would take place with that domino effect. So good to see the guys that are going to take back on the court and also give us some entertainment here. Let's get back to Major League Baseball. Let's get back to my Philadelphia Phillies, 965, 966. Philadelphia and Washington. Spencer Howard, the young rookie, going to be on the mound versus Max Scherzer. 7 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Nationals. They open up as a minus 183, sit 175 across the board. Jason, the total opened offshore at 8.5. That now sits at 9. And here's the dilemma for me. I wish this game was, let's just say, a week ago where the Phillies didn't make any trades in their bullpen. It would be a landslide. Let's jump all over this. Washington team total 4.5. Let's do the first 5 innings at 2.5. I like both of them still, but I'm still trying to figure in that's not that free ride over 6 innings, 7 innings, and 8 innings that you're going to get out of the Phillies bullpen. Although Workman does make it tough in the 9th inning, it seems like. I like the Nationals team total over 2.5 in the first 5 innings. The young kids should do well. And look, 5 innings, 3 runs is not that hard to do, especially in a muggy hitting environment. They match up well. Howard has struggled on the mound this year. I'm going to take the Phillies bullpen out of the equation. Give me 3 runs out of the Washington Nationals over the first 5 innings. I'll take that team total over here, Jason. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so I like the Nationals here as well. I'd even look at under 9. But if we talk about those first 5 innings, well, currently Spencer Howard has an OBA of 358 with the lefties hitting 423 with 3 home runs and 4 walks. So let's insert Juan Soto here and get that 3-run blast maybe in the 3rd or 4th inning for the Nationals to pound on Howard and get that over in the first 5 innings. Yeah, I like the Nationals lineup to do some damage versus Howard, and maybe even that Phillies bullpen that obviously has improved. But the Nationals still have some talent there. Howard, a 6.17 ERA, a 7.01 FIP. The Nationals should be able to pounce on them early, and especially Juan Soto. And there's other lefties in the lineup, like maybe Thames, maybe I know there's a bunch of guys that can hit lefty. I don't know if their lineup's out yet, and probably not. But they have a ton of lefties in that lineup that can definitely do damage. So definitely Nationals in the first 5 innings to score over 2.5.
Yeah, anticipated lineup here for today's card. And the lefties, Adam Eaton lefty, as Drupal Cabrera can bat lefties. He's a switch hitter. Juan Soto's a lefty. Garcia's a lefty. Thames is a lefty. So they have a nice, veteran matchup. And you're talking about a guy with a higher xFIP, not a great Sierra. Lefties do bang him around. And you're talking about a divisional game, and Max Scherzer's on the mound, which you don't want to lose another game to a division rival. I just think that those Washington bats, maybe a Juan Soto first inning, 2-run home run. They scratch out another one with, Trey Turner getting on first base, stealing 2nd and 3rd. It can happen as it goes. And a young pitcher you might be able to take advantage of. I like that side. I don't really say, well, if you like that side, they're going to get some runs in Max Scherzer. Why not just take it? Well, there's a difference between taking a team total at minus 115 or minus 120 and taking a minus 175 or minus 180 for the entire game or for the first 5 innings. So I'm going to go that route. I think Washington can get a few runs here. Another full game here. We're going to go down to Texas, 967, 968, Oakland and the Texas Rangers. Bassett versus Lyles. 7 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on Oakland and Bassett. This opens up at 173, and you might think that this is Clayton Kershaw because it's now sitting around 200, a total that opened up at 10. Now we're seeing some 9.5s. Lyles numbers, ERA, peripherals are terrible. So one would think that the Oakland bats would wake up and stun this guy, but still playing in a pitcher's type of environment. And I'm actually going to go the opposite way because instead of me feasting my eyes on Lyles and how bad he is, I'm going to take a little bit of value. I don't like Texas's lineup all that much, but Bassett hasn't been that great. xFIP is a little bit elevated. I'll go first 5 innings, Texas Rangers team total over 1.5. As they say, Joey Gallo, give me one swing at a bat, baby, and we're going to get this. I'm going to take that route. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, there's definitely value there. I think this game goes over, in my opinion. So that's why I have the Athletics over 5 of their team total. It's a little high at the juice around minus 140, but you get that 5 runs, you get a push, and you get 6, you get the win over Jordan Lyles, who has a 9.25 ERA, a 6.24 FIP. He allows a low ground ball rate. Everything else is pretty high on the categories. He's now allowed 25 earned runs in his last 22.1 innings pitched. So more than a run per inning this season. His last 22.1 innings hasn't looked good at all. I think the A's can jump all over the Rangers in this one. The righties are hitting 413 versus Lyles on the season. Of course, we know some of the A's and their right-handed bats have some big power in that lineup. So I like the A's to score a ton of runs in this game. I think the Rangers can definitely score some runs in this game as well. Bassett, 2.97 ERA, 3.64 FIP, but his strikeout numbers aren't too high either. his walk rate is a little bit high at 2.43. It's, it's okay. So yeah, I mean, Bassett's the better pitcher, of course, but the Rangers can definitely score a couple runs here. But I would just prefer the Athletics to score more runs. So Athletics over 5 team total. But if you want to look at the over in this game instead, that's probably okay too.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Everybody checking in the chat box, 320 people watching live right now. 56 love thumbs up, 0 thumbs down, exactly the way we like it. If you're just tuning back in, you say, hey, I haven't seen this show in a while. I forgot about it. Well, don't forget about it anymore. Hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. When me and Jason start talking some Major League Baseball, carrying you through the regular season to the playoffs, you want those notifications delivered directly to your inbox. And come in here and say hello, just like our good friend Abel Alvarez, T. Henderson, Daniel Pacheco, Sabino, Anguiano. Try to get these names correctly as much as I can, but thank you for coming into the chat box. Another full game here, Jason. Let's take a look at this one, open it up a little bit. 9:55, 9:56. That's Colorado and Arizona, Freeland and Gallen. If we look at the numbers coming in, 7 out of every 10 tickets actually are backing the Colorado Rockies, fresh off their victory yesterday. Game opened up at an 8.5. Now we sit at 8s across the board. How about late inning magic? I'm not too sure. Usually what happens in Arizona these days is the earlier starts, they'll wait till like the 3rd inning and open the roof. I looked yesterday, I had written down here the Arizona Diamondbacks team total over 4.5. I'm watching the game, boy, that was really bad. And just like the theme of last night, an explosion in the 9th inning. And how about missing a grand slam walk-off by about 2 feet to end the game? They end up losing the game by 1, but the game goes way over. Both teams cash their team totals, and Colorado walks away with the victory. And that's this low number of 8 today across the board. Keep in mind, again, it's an early start out there. The roof is probably going to be closed, so you don't get that late inning heated up magic late. I like Zach Gallen. I've always been a big Zach Gallen fan. It's a heavy favorite, 150s in that range. So I'm going to abstain from this game because I don't have a great feel overall, and I do prefer when that roof is open. Any leans in this one between Freeland and Gallen here?
Yeah, look, if you like quality starts and you like games that are close, this is the game for you. Kyle Freeland, he's thrown a quality start in every start this season. Gallen, he's thrown a quality start in his last 5 starts this season. So what does that tell you? Under 5 and under 4.5 in the first 5 innings seems like a great play. But if you look at those first 5 numbers, right? Look at those first 5 numbers and you see that actually Zach Gallen has actually not performed well with the Diamondbacks in first 5 this season. The Diamondbacks are not scoring runs when Gallen's on the mound. So with the Rockies having some momentum going into this game, they've won those 2 games versus the Diamondbacks already this season. I think the Rockies have a little bit of an edge here with Freeland on the mound to maybe score a run or 2 in this game. So I'd look at the Rockies on the money line in the first 5, or even Rockies plus 0.5 and minus 129 in the first 5 innings. This game will be really close throughout the entire game. That's why you get that plus 0.5. So if there is a tie in the first 5 innings, the Rockies get the win. If it's tie in the money line, you get the push. If there's no runs, you get the under 4.5 and you cash that as well. So for me, there's just other plays I'd prefer than this one, just because I just don't want to go against Gallen, although the numbers say Freeland and the Rockies should probably win this first 5 as underdogs. I like that play, and if you want the underdog play, do it. So, yeah, it's a tough one for me. I think under in the first 5, Rockies plus 0.5, and Rockies money line in the first 5 are all plays in this one.
No, it certainly makes sense here. And also just reading through Twitter as I'm skimming through, also looking at the chat box here. Keep in mind, too, because just a little bit of, not even analysis that you have, but just putting plays in, putting bets in early to try to beat a line. Not the time to do it in this day and age, because when you're looking at some of these social justice and unrest, you don't know who's going to be starting, who's going to be pulled in, who's going to be pulled out. You have action in the game. Your pitcher sits this one out, or maybe Clayton Kershaw says, I'm going to, sit back on the sidelines. If Mookie Betts doesn't want to start tonight, we'll play as a team, but I want to make sure I back him up and not pitch. You don't want to be left out. So wait at least till you see some of these lineups to see what's going on, because even taking a look at the NHL from a perspective today, they're having talks that they might skip a day to show solidarity with the other professional sports. And also the Boston Red Sox are talking about it as well. And usually, as we know, it's a domino effect that goes down the chain, because the other organizations are going to back each other in the union, and you don't want to look bad. It's not like, hey, let's have 6 games cancel and 2 games play. They're probably all going to fold down. So just keep in mind when you're looking at these overall lineups that are out early, you're taking the information in. Wait till you see, like, yep, the game's a go. Here's the lineups. Everybody's in good graces, because the last thing you want to do is put a play out there and be like, you know what? I thought this was really good. 3 guys sat out and the starting pitcher sat out. Don't do that to yourself here. So we'll see what happens happens in that. 350 people watching in the chat box now. We do want to thank you. Let's pick off some of these double headers and move down the list on what we can anticipate. But before we do that, why don't we pick on your New York Mets in this game going up against was supposed to be a future phenom for the Philadelphia Phillies? Sixto Sanchez will step to the mound. Five innings, like 3 earned runs his last time out. Gave up 2 home runs in that game. But the Mets are going to step. And I'm trying to get here just to make sure the Mets starter in this game, I know it's been listed as unofficial and official at some places. Yeah. Let me see what we got here. Walker Lockett, I believe, is going to be the starter tonight. Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm seeing too. So I would assume it's Walker Lockett, yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'm looking at this because I would like to fade Walter Lockett. I really would. But again, it gets back to the Marlins. When I look at this team, Birdie, Joyce, Aguilar, Dickerson, Anderson, Diaz, Alfaro, Villar, Rojas, and I say, yeah, they should hit, but I don't want to end up with 2 runs with the Marlins. Like, you know what? I knew that was going to happen. And also Sixto Sanchez, where one of those new guys, and you see his statistics all the way from single A to double A moving up. He's a strikeout pitcher, a 100-mile-an-hour guy. Didn't fare so great, but if you don't see him a couple times around, maybe it's a little sneaky. I abstained from this game, but boy, I really wanted to take the Marlins team total here, Jason. Any thoughts on your Mets?
Yeah, like I'm not a big Walker Lockett guy, and I don't think any Mets fan is. But with that said, Sixto Sanchez, in his one start, he ended up with a 5.4 ERA and a 6.76 FIP. So yeah, this is a game, just a stay away game. I think there's other plays that you could make instead of worrying about these 2 pitchers. Maybe the over hits. I'm not sure what the over is set at now with Lockett being the starter, but maybe the over is the play in this one.
Looks like 9s and some 9.5 out of New Jersey are showing up. Yeah. Looks like Lockett's a short favorite, 131, 130, which I think is fair because when I look at the lineup, the Mets are still going to be a pretty good lineup against Sanchez. And again, he's still a young guy. The Mets should be the favorite in this one, but a little bit too much for you to reach over and say, you know what? I don't know how long he's going to go. And do I trust the Marlins on the one side if I want to take a dog? So I'm going to lay off that. Let's look at some doubleheaders. Good pitching matchup here. 969, 970. Sonny Gray and Adrian Hauser's going to go up against it. That's the Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers, who sat out yesterday. They are going to play a doubleheader today. This game's listed at 5:10 Eastern, and you do have a small favorite here. And again, the lines that have shifted, minus 125 to plus 125. You can't look at that and say, "Oh, look at how sharp that line movement's going." You really didn't know which pitcher was going to pitch in what matchup, and sometimes the early line indicates a different pitcher. So if you're one of those guys that says, "Look at the line," the complete 50-cent line move on this, that's not correct there because it may be indicating of a different pitcher that they expected to start. But 123s, 124s, 128s across the board, 6s and 6.5 between these two. And I got to say, with these 2 pitchers, the Milwaukee lineup, I always lean under. I don't like 7-inning games. I'm not going to bet the game, but I see the 6.5. I'll lean 6.5 as an under here.
Yeah, and I'm looking at both games. I'm thinking the Reds can probably win both with Sonny Gray on the mound and Wade Miley on the mound in those 2 games. And Hauser and Lindblom seem like they're going to be on the mound for the Brewers in game 1 and game 2 respectively. So yeah, I'm looking at the Reds here. I'm thinking they can pull off the sweep, and maybe the first game there won't be too many runs, and maybe the second game I think there could be more runs in that game. Yeah. So yeah, looking at this, Sonny Gray, 2.21 ERA, 2.68 FIP. He's been tremendous, getting 12.52 strikeouts per 9 innings, 3.1 walks per 9 innings. That could be a little bit lower, but hasn't allowed too many home runs this season either, and he's looked pretty good. So yeah, I like the Reds in that game. I think under in that game as well. With Adrian Hauser on the mound, who gets a ton of ground balls. So that first game seems like an under game. Second game seems like an over game, though.
No, it certainly does. And taking a look at some other games, because you're talking about Miley, and I would love to see if that was a full game. I'm like, you know what? Milwaukee Bats might be able to wake up against this guy, but not going to be the case. And you're right. That is a high over under because you're talking about 7 innings where you're getting the starter and then you're getting the best guy out of the bullpen. Not one of those games where the starter goes 5 and you bring in that long relief guy in the 6th and the 7th until you get your bridge to your closer. Not going to take place here. So you would need 8 runs over the 7 innings to cash that ticket. And also with the home team as a favorite, you might not even get the full at bats from both sides over those 7 innings. So just a little bit of food to think about there. Some other doubleheaders out there across the card, but we covered most of the games here, full games in about a half hour. And hopefully all these games do go off. We're able to chip in and make some money here because I need to get this game. Look, 3-0 on Monday, 2-0 on Tuesday, 1-0 on Wednesday. It's a shorter card here, and I'm going to keep it simple right here as we give out our best bets and bankers. And we already talked about the game already. And I'm going to make the choice here. It's going to be the Tampa Rays first 5 innings team total of over 2.5. I think they get the full game as well. I think they get the 5 runs, but I'm confident in saying, and as the old adage goes, Jason, if they only get 1 run over 5, it's probably a pretty good chance they're not going to get the team total over against the bullpen trying to match up. So if they get the 3 runs early, there's a chance that they might not get 5. We're going first 5 innings, Tampa Bay Rays, or at least I'm going first 5, Tampa Bay Rays over the 2.5. That's my play of the day. I'm going to make it 7 in a row with that. Jason, bring it home. Give me some winners, best bets, and bankers.
Yeah, so I'm on the Rays over 4.5. So that just goes to show you how much we like the Rays in this matchup against the Orioles. So Rays over 4.5 at around -115 right now. That is the banker play. Other official plays for me, the Blue Jays -0.5 in the first 5 innings at -154. I'm aware the juice is a little bit higher than I'm used to giving out, but I'm really high on Ryu over Meza in this one. So the Blue Jays -0.5 in the first 5 innings at -154. And then lastly, we'll look at the Athletics over 5 the team total against the Rangers and Jordan Lyles. So that's 3 official plays. I haven't given out 3 official plays in some time. So I'm excited for today. I'm ready to get back on the winning ways.
Yeah, let's get them all to play too, right? You don't want to be like, hey, now I got to switch down and I only got 1 game left on the card and we like them. So I was really close to that Nationals team total of 4.5 and also the Nationals team total over the first 5 innings of 2.5. But I'm just going to pick on a bad pitcher. Give me the home team. Ray should be able to stack right-handed bats. I think we're going to be safe. And you know what's going to happen in that game, Jason? We're both going to cash in the first 5 innings and just have a nice, easy night as we cruise off. Thank you guys for tuning in. A 30-minute show today. Got in, got out. Your time matters to us, and that's the way we like to treat it. So we'll go with some winners today. Thanks again, 350 people watching, 84 thumbs up, 0 thumbs down. If you missed the show, if you got in late, did Donnie and Jason talk about the Mets? Click on below, sbrpicks.com/MLB. I'm Donnie Seymour, and he's Jason Radowitz. Today, again, Major League Baseball, right here on sportsbookreview.com. We will be back tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, on the Major League Baseball show.